Hello everyone, I'm Annie Gibbins and you're listening to Memoirs of Successful Women, the podcast where you get to hear candid conversations with fascinating women from around the globe who share aspects of their business and life journey, how they measure their success and what they have learnt along the way. Well, hello and welcome to Memoirs of Successful Women. Today I have a real treat for you. I'm introducing you to Paytience Hesse, who's a state and national acrobatics champion, and she's only 9 years old. She's currently in training for the biennial World Championships. She trains at the Oak Flats Albion Park Gymnastics Club in Sydney, Australia, and I'm so excited about talking to Paytience today about all the requirements for mental fitness, physical fitness, mental toughness to actually become a champion in your own right, in your own sport. So welcome to the program, Paytience.
Thank you.
It is such a delight to have you on my program because I generally always, in fact, I've interviewed more than 100 women globally who are all successful women doing their own thing, often at a corporate level, have run businesses and the like. And I've just been so attracted by following you on your Instagram account because I just see this young, gorgeous girl, 9 years old, day in, day out, just perfecting her craft, right? It's just absolutely amazing. So I actually see you as such an inspiring young woman to have joined me on this program. First of all, let's start, Paytience, and just start telling me, why is acrobatics your thing?
Because you get to work in groups, it's really fun. You get to make new friends and go to competitions.
Wow. Okay. So it seems like when I watch you doing your acrobatic, work, it's often you're getting yourself into these amazing positions, by the way. You are so flexible. Incredible. But you're sort of doing these skills that are over and over and over again repetitive, but there is that whole team thing. So tell me about that. When you go to Oak Flats gymnastic clubs, who do you meet? What sort of other people are there? Are they all practicing the same kind of techniques? How social is it? How do you really get to feel part of a community there?
I train with my group and my coaches, and we've all got to make sure that everything, like we train as hard as we can and we don't give up. And we've also got to do conditioning so we get stronger.
I have watched you get stronger. I've been following you for a few years now, even though you're only 9. I know that you won a world record or something when you were between 7 and 9. I'll have to ask you about that. But I've definitely watched your body physically changing. You are getting very, very strong. I mean, you're a teeny little pocket rocket anyway, but definitely I can see that when you do that sort of training day in, day out, it certainly, shapes your body because it's all about getting your body absolutely at its pinnacle to be able to achieve the tasks, the acts, the skills that you're wanting to do. So talk me through that. First of all, let's tell the listeners, since I've done a little bit of a drop there, what world record did you achieve?
The longest ring handstand in the kids world record.
Kids world record for ring handstand. What is a ring handstand?
It's where on my blocks and I'm in a handstand, but my back's arched over and my feet are on my hands.
Yes, I'll talk that through for the listeners, and definitely you're going to want to watch some video that I'm going to place on my my platform on YouTube as well with this recording. Paytience has this amazing ability. If you can imagine just doing yourself a handstand for starters, that's challenging for all of us, but then she ends up then continues arching her back so that her feet flip right over and they are then touching her hands behind her. It's quite phenomenal. So you did the longest world record for that between the 7 and the 9 age category. And then now what sort of routines do you do when you're going to a world championship? What does that require?
It requires a balance routine, a dynamic, and a combined routine.
Right. Okay. What's a dynamic routine and then what's the combined? I'm assuming combined is with other people.
So dynamic is where you're with the same group and you do these, like, you don't hold stuff, you just do like flips and like you get thrown in the air. And then combined is with balance and dynamic. So balance is where you hold stuff, you do handstands and individuals,
Mm-hmm.
and balance and dynamic combined into it.
Wow. I've seen you in some of your images that you're in teams of people who look like they're, 16, like much, much older than you. Is that because the level that you're at, people at a similar level are just much older, or is it that you've been able to apply for, the under 16s group and you seem to be in that group? How does that work?
I'm in the 12 to 18 international category, and it's where the coaches pair you up with this group, and um, both of my teammates are both 15 and 13.
Absolutely phenomenal, phenomenal. What is the difference, Patience, between acrobatics and gymnastics? We've all just watched the Olympics and we're watching gymnasts. And I know that acrobatics is actually not an Olympic sport. It more feeds into Cirque du Soleil and other sort of showing theatre strengths, human strengths in different kind of ways. But what is the main difference between acrobatics and gymnastics?
The main difference between acrobatic and gymnastics is that in acrobatics you work with groups, between gymnastics you don't, and you also don't do all of the apparatuses. You only work on a springboard floor.
Right. Okay. So you don't have to do all the beams and the bars and the rings and all those other things that gymnasts do.
No.
Okay. And let's take the listeners back then. Why did you choose? I think we started with this. Why did you choose acrobatics? Was it because where you live, there just happens to be this amazing centre that trains acrobats? Or is it that you actually thought, I love acrobatics more than any other sport? Was it default? Sometimes you get into things just because it's there. And other times it's like, no, I knew I always wanted to be doing this.
Yeah. It started off when I did cheerleading. We went to do this performance, and the head coach, which is Kim Lacey, me and another friend, we were doing like cartwheels and back walkovers and front walkovers and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And the head coach was just like, would you girls like to come and try acrobatics? And we were both like, yeah, we would love to try. So our parents bring us down, and we sort of like went into a group called Rec, where we do games and we do like drills and all that. And I loved it so much that I wanted to continue it more.
Wow. So you've seriously been headhunted, we call that in the adult world, by Kim Lacey. I read an article that she quoted saying patience is what we call a diamond. You find a little kid like that every once in a blue moon. She's got the physical attributes and of course she's got the mental attributes. And that's what I noticed coming through to you too. So you've been spotted by Kim. She's gone and said, oh my gosh, you've actually already got a natural flair, natural talents. You're already doing this anyway, which is what I absolutely love, rather than kids who get pushed into sports that they don't actually align with. And that's a whole other topic. But she's seen you, you've come along, and so you've actually just scored where you live. Is it far for you to go? Because I know you train like 5 times a week. Is it near where you live?
Yeah, it's about 10 to 15 minutes away.
That is absolutely fantastic. What a dream come true for you, and wonderful to have such a pro training you every day. So she went and talked about your physical attributes and your mental attributes. What physical attributes do you think they were looking for, or do you need to have, and what are you working on to make sure that you're the best acrobat there is?
Probably confidence, talent, and wanting to actually do the sport rather than not.
Yeah, so you actually just really want it. You want to actually say, for this sport, whatever it takes to be the best in this specific pose, position, routine, whatever it is, your body therefore has to be, primed, I suppose, for that. When you look at your beautiful little body, what have you had to work on that you probably, didn't have naturally, or were you actually quite fortunate that you just had the natural genetic makeup, physically to be a great acrobat?
I didn't have much of the technique with pointed toes and knees. I had to work for it.
Mm-hmm.
I had to try to keep my knees straight, point my toes, and all of that.
Yeah. And when you're doing something like that day in, day out, because I know it sounds fun, and when you go on a little camp, I can imagine kids your age going on an acrobatic camp and you love it and you have fun, but you then do it 5 days a week. In fact, I know it looks like when I watch you online, you do it 7 days a week because you're always practicing. What is the difference then on the mental attributes for you to commit to being the best of the best? What does that mean to you?
You have to have the right mindset, and you need to think straightforward, and you have to have confidence and to believe in yourself.
Hmm. Where does that come from for you? Do you think you've been a naturally confident person, or have you actually started following other people and being influenced or inspired by other people to actually go, no, that's the type of mindset that I actually want to have?
Yeah, I've been inspired by a few people, and I've been like, I want to do that. I want to try that, and I want to be the best that I can be.
Mm, absolutely. Well, you certainly are being the best that you can be. So when you are practicing now, so you take your board, your hand plates, what do you call that platform that you stand on?
Call them hands, or we call them blocks.
Hands and blocks. So you take your blocks, and are you one of these girls that, mum and dad say we're going down to the beach or going to a park, and you actually go, oh my goodness, I just obviously, other people would take their dog and you go, I'm going to take my blocks with me so I can do it, because I've seen your photos in a whole lot of different locations.
Yeah.
Is that because you're just focused on, I just want to, how many hours a day would you actually be training? Is it just sort of thinking, I'll do it for the different environment, or actually I just want to get in the hours to be ahead of where other people are?
Before we were in COVID and I was training at the gym, we were spending about 21 hours a week.
Wow. 21 hours a week at the gym.
Yeah.
At the gym. And so your center has a gym included in it. Is that part of your training?
Yeah.
Wow. For those mums who are listening in going, oh my gosh, how does this young, gorgeous girl do 21 hours of training a week? Plus she probably does some more at work. How does that work with your schooling? How do you stay balanced, and how do you still see your non-acrobatic friends and to make everything happen?
So I go to school at 9 o'clock and we end at 3. And then if it's on a school day on weekdays, on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, we would then leave to go to gym at about 3:30, 3:45, and then gym would end at around 7 to 7:30.
Wow. So it seriously is pretty much every day after school, you just hit the gym, go and do it, but you love it, right?
Yes, I do.
So what's the difference? You probably would have seen some other kids who then come in and do something, but they don't have that natural love. Do you notice the difference? Because I talk a lot and I coach a lot of people on following their purpose and their passion. And I know through my life experience, it's great to try different things, but you don't always love it. You don't always become obsessed with it. And the people who become the champions or pioneers in different spaces, if you're looking from a business perspective, actually do just love it. They have a genuine passion. Have you noticed the difference at your age of people giving things a go but not being as committed?
Yeah.
Do you think there's a couple of factors there? Is it them, or is it that they were getting pushed into it by family?
I think it was more that they wanted to try it out
Yeah.
and they didn't love it as much and didn't really commit.
Yeah. But I think that's a great thing about sports. And we're talking, this is a young sport. I think that's also great. So there'll be the people like you who, are in the running, you're tracking really well for your next world championships, and you'll be winning all these awards, and you're amazing in your space. And there's also the opportunity to just go in there and have a go. It's like instruments, if you like. You might try flute or clarinet and bits and pieces, and you can just give things a go just because of the fun of it, or just to see if you do like it. What are the biggest hazards with it, if you like? Have you hurt yourself? What sort of injuries have you had? Is it very dangerous being an acrobat? It certainly is when you watch it live, when you go to Cirque du Soleil. You're hoping you've got lots of little wires holding you, but is it considered a dangerous sport?
I've had a fractured elbow in February this year because I fell back onto my arm in a skill.
Right. So you did it in training.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what was that feeling like? Was it the devastation of the pain of the injury, or is it like, how is this going to affect my training?
It was more, how is this going to affect my training?
Spoken like a true champion. That's right. You can suck up the pain, but it's like, oh no, this is terrible. So what was the rehab like? What did that do to you emotionally?
It was just more like, why did this happen? I just want to train.
Yeah, and because you're in such great condition, you probably feel like you're a bit invincible at times, right? Because you're so fit and you're so capable, and you've got, you're known for balance, if anything else, and strength and toughness. But it shows that injuries can happen to anyone, and they certainly do. Any athlete will say they've, struggled with, injuries, and obviously that's why you're coached so well by Kim to try and, obviously prevent or minimize injuries as much as possible, but things can happen. So you're training now in a pandemic. How is this affecting you?
Well, we're not doing the skills and we're not being with our groups, and we're not getting as hard of conditioning, and we're losing a bit of strength, and when we do go back, and if we go back, we'll have to restart and relearn out all of our skills and strengthen up.
And so do they even include like online training? Is that something they do, or do you actually just keep practicing what you have done and just keep going over and over again at home?
We do Zooms for conditioning, and sometimes we do the tops do a Zoom for like their presses and handstands.
Yeah.
And sometimes the bases do some too.
Wow. Fantastic. So you just keep doing it over Zoom. Shows you can do anything Zooming these days, and also practicing what you already know you need to do. But you must be at times going, oh, I wish I could be at my centre. But we need to all get obviously immunised, and that day will come. So let's talk then. Patience, you're only 9. What does success in your space look like? If I could wave a magic wand, what is your dream to achieve?
My dream to achieve is to like become world champion for 2022.
Wow. As in next year at the age of 10?
Yeah.
That is incredible. So your dream is seriously just around the corner. So that's 2022. And so hopefully the world will be opening up for you to be able to do that. Is that in Australia? Do you have to travel somewhere? What does that look like?
I'm pretty sure we have to go to Baku, which is, I'm pretty sure, the capital of Azerbaijan.
Oh my goodness. What an experience. Well, let's hope you can definitely get on that plane to go there. And how big is your team that you would go together, or is it actually that you would go just with your family?
It would probably be just me and my mum going on the plane together
Yeah.
and same hotel room.
Wow. Absolutely amazing. So if you're focusing on that, what month is that next year? Because we need to get a global cheer squad going for you. I'm definitely going to start posting about you and getting people encouraging, because let's face it, you know, not many of us know an amazing, young, gifted, talented young woman who is just going for gold in her own sport and for herself, and being able to say, oh my gosh, my dream is next year. And then you know what will happen, Patience, after you achieve that dream, you'll have more and more dreams. You know, dreams just keep going. How can people support you? Do you have a GoFundMe page, or do we need to start one? You know, because it's costly, isn't it? It's costly getting trained and going on flights and, you know, getting represented. Do you have a sponsor?
No, but I have my family.
You have a gorgeous family. Well, we're going to have to find you a sponsor, because seriously, we need to invest in our young ones. So leave that with me. I'll try and get some support for you. And in the meantime, well done for just keep doing it anyway. And I think that's a sign of a real champion, that, you know, even without the sponsors, even without all the, you know, the gloss, you know, a lot of people think, well, you've got to be, you know, rich, famous from a certain economic environment to actually achieve these days. And, you know, you have shown that here's a girl who's just doing her own thing, gets spotted, joins the group, trains her heart out, her body out, puts her mind into it, and has already achieved phenomenal success, really. And now you're on the way to become a world champion, hopefully just next year. Well, let's hope the world all opens up and we can get you on that plane and be all cheering you along. And then what's after that? What happens after you're 10? What's the plan for a few years after that?
I'm just gonna keep on training, trying to become world champion again.
Yeah, just keep staying at the top. And do they have competitions regularly around the world? Is this something that you know, if you get more financial support and you can achieve, are there more and more things that you can do? Or because I read in your on the website that you've got, you know, the world championships, you've got to wait every couple of years to go to, you know, that's a long time in between amazing achievements. So do they have a lot of tournaments that you go to?
We have a state trial 1, state trial 2, state, national clubs, sometimes Vegas, and world championships.
Wow, fantastic. So let's finish up, Patience, and say, well, what does success mean to you when you look at people that you admire who's successful, or for yourself, of what you want to achieve in your life? Do you know, well, how would you describe success?
I would describe success as achieving stuff, like even just achieving a really cool and hard handstand shape, or a skill, even a competition.
Okay, achieving something that you will make you push yourself. Is that what you're saying? You're saying if you don't do something that you know you can do, but push yourself to that next level and see what you can do, that is success.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well said. Well, you are an absolute diamond. You're a star. You're certainly incredibly successful, and you will continue to be so. You know, we'll now get more and more people following you. Thank you for the words of wisdom and positive sort of vibes that you send out via your social. It's really inspiring, and that's why I've put you on my program, because you see a lot of people who do things for themselves, but they're very focused in that way. Whereas you are, you know, the future of women that, you know, I certainly want to encourage and give a leg up to, because you're actually saying, I'm in my own zone and loving what I do, but I also want to encourage and inspire other people to achieve their best self, you know, whatever that is, whether it's acrobatics or anything. And I know a lot of your language and the affirmations that you use are so encouraging and so supportive, and we need to have more and more of that. I've got a Facebook group called Women Collaborating Globally, and that's exactly the essence of what we're trying to achieve. And here I see you're just doing it naturally, and that's why you're such an amazing young woman, that you already know that, and to know that at 9 and not have to go through an environment where women and girls don't support each other is actually super exciting for us older ones to hear, because we know it is possible and it does make the world a much better place. So thank you so much for being on my program today. I wish you all the best for your future success. We will be following you in your World Championships next year. So just keep taking that block, just keep practicing, keep putting it up on social, and I will definitely get more and more followers to follow you. And keep just being you, right? Just be the gorgeous woman, young woman that you were born to be, and just keep bringing out the best in yourself personally and physically, mentally, and ultimately this will be professionally for you, because this is your life and your dream. At this time, you can always change your mind, but certainly it seems to be heading that you are going to be living and breathing this space for a very long time to come.
Thank you for having me on your podcast.
You are very welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Memoirs of Successful Women. You can find me at anniegibbins.com, where you can download my free resources, get connected on social, and check out my online magic transformation program. If you love this show, feel free to subscribe to future episodes, and of course, share it with your friends. I'll see you again soon, and until then, happy podcasting.